Labor and workplace experts are predicting a post-pandemic resignation boom. New data signals the great resignation, as some are calling it, is real and may be happening sooner than expected. 1 in 4 American workers surveyed say they are planning to leave their jobs or change career paths once the pandemic has subsided. For more on this, let's bring in Axios reporter Erica Pandey. Erica, good to see you. So this is fascinating to me because I had a great resignation moment years before this pandemic, and I'm curious as to, and it wasn't as seismic or as cataclysmic as a pandemic in my life and in the life of those around me that led me to make this change. So what are some of the reasons that people are considering a new job post-pandemic?
I mean, it's like you said, Vlad, right? A big life event makes you take a look at what your life is like and what you want to do in the future. And people have had those isolated. But, this is the first time that we as a country have all had a chance to rethink the future. And people are making these decisions based on all types of things. You've got folks who have spent time with their family during this period, and they want to continue to do that, maybe working part-time or fewer hours. You've got people who finally want to start their business. A great example that I think of, Time Magazine had a great story on a husband and wife. Husband's a restaurant manager, wife's an insurance broker, and they realized post-pandemic they want to spend more time outside, so they're starting a landscaping business together. There's all kinds of reshuffling and reallocation happening in the economy, and that's going to cause friction and a lot of pain for human resources departments, frankly.
When I was reading the piece, I was thinking about what the CEO of Morgan Stanley said just the other day. Basically, if you can go to a restaurant in New York, then you can come into the office, and that he may, it would be, he would look badly on people who were choosing not to come into the office. And then it reminded me of some coverage that we were doing, several years ago about how some of the best and the brightest are choosing not to go into finance and instead into tech because of all the extra perks and the work-life balance that tech gives you that finance doesn't. It made me wonder if finance was going to be hit particularly hard with this great resignation. Which job sectors may see the biggest losses?
So you're absolutely right. We saw this kind of dichotomy between the West Coast tech companies saying, do whatever you want, and the East Coast finance companies saying, this is a fluke, you got to come back in. So definitely we could see finance and the employers who are calling workers back in a very strict way be hit hard. I'm also looking at the restaurant sector. I mean, a lot of folks who work in restaurants, who bartend, who serve, saw the volatility of their industries during this pandemic and maybe want to use this time to train and move to a different field entirely. So there's a lot of reallocation going on, and this resignation boom, really no one is immune to it, no sector.
So let's talk about the challenges that this might present for employers. Should companies consider people working from home? I've anecdotally spoken to some people who've had very robust discussions with management about what the future looks like. And in most cases, at least in the folks that I've spoken to, management seems open and willing and understanding of where we are today versus where we were in March of 2020. But what does your research and your data show you?
Right. I mean, on the one hand, an employer can't really do a lot about someone who just wants to switch fields entirely. I mean, if you don't even want to work in the same industry anymore, there's not really an amount of money or a promotion that'll make you stay. But hybrid is really what, 90+% of people want in the future. And so employers are really going to have to offer that flexibility for folks. But it cuts both ways, right? I mean, I'm, a younger person. A lot of younger people like me love the office, miss that energy, and we want to go back. But if we go back, we might find that not everybody else wants to come back. So that same kind of camaraderie that we're used to in a full office isn't there anymore. So what I'm looking to see in the next year or so is, does hybrid work? I mean, does it really enhance productivity? Does it make everyone happy? Or do companies have to find a way to land on one side or the other? That's really the big question that every workplace expert is digging into right now.
Why will this resignation boom increase the gap between men and women in the workplace?
I mean, unfortunately, we've already seen some of the devastating impacts to women in the workplace because of COVID, right? Before the pandemic, women reached an incredible milestone in February 2020 where they outnumbered men in the workforce for the first time in U.S. history. And now millions of women have dropped out of the workforce already. that set us decades and decades back. And this resignation boom also includes a lot of women, particularly working mothers, who are not going back to work because the childcare and home responsibilities for the pandemic that have disproportionately fallen on them don't allow them to get back to work. So a key issue that's adjacent to this is that policymakers and companies really have to think a little bit more creatively about what childcare and benefits and flexibility look like for working parents to get this critical mass of talent back to work.
So can we talk a little bit more about that? You mentioned, for example, younger employees who are interested in the energy and the commodity of being back in the office. I do think it's sort of interesting if you look at it just sort of demographically by numbers like age or even industry. For example, I know that, for example, my wife said to me, when I'm on a story, when I'm, producing the lead story on her broadcast, then I want to be in the office because I have access to the executive producer, I have access to the presenter. But when I'm not on the lead story and I'm not reporting, then I can do my research and I can make my calls and I can do all my reporting from home just as easily. Is that what you mean when you talk about the hybrid and about the energy that some people want when they're in the office versus some who may say, look, I never need to see another coworker as long as I live?
Absolutely. People have figured out that if I'm just going to sit at my desk and be heads down, I can do that at home in the comfort of my own home. But, there's a lot of that collaboration, that kind of brushing shoulders in the hallway, and especially for younger workers, you want to be in the sight of CEO and CFO, and you want to rub shoulders with leadership. And often leadership is going to be the people who are coming into the office. So there's going to be kind of a different balance of things. One solution that workplace experts have said is that, say everyone comes in and stays home on the same days. So, if it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the office culture, then those are the days where you go in, you do your collaborative work on those days, and then Tuesday, Thursday, you do, like your wife said, that heads down kind of solo work. So there are a few different models that companies are experimenting with. The big takeaway is that employers are kind of caught in the middle here because employees don't even really know what they want, right? They've been caught between two extremes here, and we've lived through a pandemic. So people are kind of trying to figure out what work looks like in a normal world.
That's really fascinating stuff. Erica, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.